Dun, 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 dun. 2 seconds.
What's going to happen in
seconds.
2 seconds?
That's how often someone becomes a victim of identity theft. Last year, there were over 14 million victims of identity theft and fraud. So are you one of those 14 million people? Most likely. The past few years have given us record-breaking breaches. Let's say that 5 times fast. Now, you will see only a few of the big ones listed right here, but LinkedIn exposed data of over 700 million people. 530 million Facebook users were victim of data breaches. But Yahoo took first place for the biggest breach in history with a news hack, with news of the hack that affected over 3 billion users. And these are only some of the breaches that occurred in the last few years. Given these statistics, it's likely that your personal information has landed in the hands of a hacker. Now, just because they have it doesn't mean you're exposed. There are things that we'll be talking about to make sure that we're prepared. But what I'm going to say is a bit dramatic, but it is true. There's a world of dark forces and criminal networks out there conspiring day and night to steal your username and password, obtain your social security number, open credit cards in your name, drain your bank accounts, and seize your computer to hold it for ransom. So we need to fill in what's known as the cybersecurity knowledge gap, and that's why we're here today. I'm worried for all of us, myself, my family, my clients, my community, and it's a serious growing problem that I don't think there's reason for despair. Most people don't realize how vulnerable they are or what they can do to increase their security. By the end of the presentation, I will guarantee you will be able to take one, if not two, key nuggets to make sure that you are more prepared. Now, we'll be talking about personal cybersecurity systems that will keep you and your family safe. First, we'll take a short quiz to determine your current cybersecurity score, and we'll do that in a moment. Then, once you know your vulnerabilities, I'll teach you some of the new rules. And at the end, we'll talk about what are some of those next steps and which ones you're going to implement right away. There you go. Where'd it go? There it is. So again, I'm Kenneth Hamilton. I'm joined by Mr. Matt Donahue. We're with Mission Financial Planners, and we help take care of all of our clients' financial planning needs. And cybersecurity is just a big part of it. So part one, discover your score. Matt, do you want to talk through this quiz for a moment?
How about you ask me the questions and we'll see what my score is.
All right. Well, my screen's over here. So 1 second.
Go for
it. Do you have one email address that you use exclusively for your online financial accounts?
No.
Do you have two-step verification on your email and your online financial accounts?
On my financial accounts, yes. My email, I don't think so.
Okay. Can you spot the difference between a dangerous free public Wi-Fi and secure free public Wi-Fi?
Absolutely.
Do you understand how to tell if your home Wi-Fi network is vulnerable to hackers and how to boost your network security?
I do.
Whenever there's a transaction on your bank account, do you get alerted for it?
I do.
Have you completed complete control over your credit files with Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion?
I do.
Have you confirmed with the credit bureaus that your minor children accounts have been frozen?
I have not.
Okay. Well, I know they're social. Just kidding. I run an updated antivirus software program on my computers and devices.
I do.
Do you make sure that my computer and devices have the most up-to-date software programs?
Yes.
Do you have a system to ensure that you can recover from a ransomware phishing attack without paying an extortion fee to a criminal?
I don't know. So I guess I'll have to say no.
Okay.
So
with all your I do's, it felt like we're about to get hitched. I do now pronounce you business partners. Of these questions, which one was most surprising to you?
I would say probably the kids. And as you know, like I'm one of those people who's pretty on top of that, like especially with credit reports and freezing your credit and stuff like that. And it's something that I hate to admit it, I just hadn't really given any thought to, right? But it's a totally valid point. I've read stories about people taking deceased people's like social security numbers and using those to, fill out a credit application, stuff like that. Um, but for whatever reason, I've just never really focused on my kids, probably because they're minors, right? And you just don't think it's a possibility. So,
And not to steal thunder from a future slide ahead, is that every social security number with the credit bureau agencies default as open, even minors. So you have to go in there and freeze them to close that. And so there's 18 years effectively until your kids are aware enough to open up a credit card that anybody can go in there and do it. It's wild.
and maybe I'll keep it frozen through college and just not tell them.
Why not?
Right?
Again, save them from themselves. That's
Right.
part of it. So
Right.
let's talk a little bit about the cybersecurity rules. And really, it's a three-legged stool. So one, making sure that we're secret with our accounts, being mindful of your setting and your circumstances, but then also making sure that we're omniscient and protecting all the different areas. So key one is adopting a level of secrecy. We could all use more secrecy, and that's what the first idea is. The secrecy mindset entails keeping your personal and private data private. With all the massive amounts of data breaches suffered by corporations and governments, only more are going to happen. We need to act as if our personal data already exists in the hands of these cyber criminals, because it likely does. We all need to draw a tighter ring of security around our personal data, and that starts with your email. Our email address is the key to our digital lives, and we share it with countless businesses, organizations, and people. You've used the internet for any amount of time, and you want that 5% discount, 20% discount for making your first purchase, you give away your email address. And we don't even think twice. But just by having your email address in so many databases puts you at a significant risk, because hackers routinely breach the security networks of one of those organizations that hold your primary email address. And that stolen personal data paired with poor email security leads to a disaster. There was this CEO of identitytheftsecurity.com, and he's a security writer, explained that it has been said that if you own a person's email, you own the person. That means that once you've been able to hack into their email, pretty much your entire digital life is up for grabs. So even if you've done your due diligence and you have all of your passwords different, if your email is hacked and it's associated with your other online accounts, the hacker could simply use a reset password and get access to all of your other accounts. So a separate email address reduces your digital footprint. And if your primary non-financial email address is exposed in a hack, it will not be connected to your financial accounts. And this is a key step in boosting your security. So to summarize, for your banking accounts, set up a separate email for them and only them. For everything else, from your Netflix, your Hulu, Disney, those are all the same company at this point anyway. Just make sure that make sure that you have a separate email for all of those. For all of your regular purchases, use a different email overall. Next one, and I'll be honest, this one is such a pain, but it's so important. Two-factor authentication. What that does is, and I'm sure you probably have to do it at work, is every time you log in, you're going to get a text message that you're going to have a passcode or something. And that's just to make sure that a person with your device is trying to get into it. I'm personally a big fan of the authenticator apps and the software that's used. I actually prefer that over text messages, but having that extra layer, one with a constantly refreshing password, like that text message that comes into you, guarantees that they would have to physically have your device as well as have all of your passwords. And getting those two different levels of protection will give you a deep level of protection as well. So key idea number 2, completing certain actions can help you achieve financial cyber omniscience and thwart fraud. So we know we need to be protected. We need to do that. So the next rule is making sure you're freezing your credit and protect your children. We were talking about this by a little bit ago, but your credit files are open by default. That means anyone with enough information to impersonate you can open a new line of credit. I mean, think about it. Every time you walk into Macy's or just about any other store, the first words out of their mouth is, would you like to save 20% by opening up a new credit card? And if they have your name, maybe they picked up your driver's license and your social security number, maybe it's written on the back, who knows? But if they have enough information, that credit card is going to be open. Now, a few years ago, it used to cost $10 to freeze and $10 to unfreeze your credit account. It was about 5 years back. They got rid of that. Now you can go in, freeze and unfreeze. What I like to do when me and my wife purchased our last vehicle, or actually, I think it was our air conditioner, which was about the cost of a vehicle that we replaced. You can set a timer so that it opens on the 1st of the month and closes by the 7th of the month. So you don't have to log in and freeze and everything like that. Also, when you have your passwords to those accounts, protect them. Don't save them in your Google Chrome password saver. I have a secret folder that's hidden in my house. I dare you to find it, but I have a secret folder that has specifically our credit agency username and passwords that we need to access, because while your banking and checking accounts is a large part of your net worth, controlling your credit and preventing your credit from going crazy is what's going to keep you from protecting your wealth as well. Anything you'd like to add on that front, Matt?
No, it's and I'm sure you're going to talk about this as well, Ken, but it does come down to checking your credit on a regular basis too. Because if suddenly your credit is doing whatever, why? Right? You might totally know the answer why, right? But you might not. And so even if you're not freezing your credit, check it on a regular basis, especially for those of you who are trying to like improve your credit score. The things you do month to month that, whittle down at debt, improve your payment history, do all that kind of stuff, that'll gradually build up your credit. And it's always encouraging to see your credit score gradually improving over time. But Ken's absolutely right. To make sure that nobody can get in and take advantage of you, freeze your credit. It's that simple.
Matt, do you want to guess how many children were affected last year by identity theft?
5 million.
You're off by a factor of 10, but it was 500,000.
Oh, okay.
Still way
Okay.
too many,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So again, you have the ability to reach out to the credit agencies with information proving that you are the parents, and you can freeze their credit. So if you have questions on how to go through that process, we're here. Let's talk through it. So our third key cybersecurity idea has to do with mindfulness. And achieving a sense of mindfulness when it comes to cybersecurity allows you to stay alert without becoming fatigued. So what does that mean? We need to be in a state of relaxed alertness when dealing with cybersecurity. Fighter pilots have an acronym for the state called OODA, OODA. It stands for observation, orientation, decision, and action. Zen masters use the phrase mindfulness. When Google completed their own analysis of worldwide cybersecurity practices, they also recommended mindfulness as a key part of cybersecurity. And that really just comes down to your day-to-day cybersecurity practices. One of the biggest threats is through a strain of malware called ransomware that kidnaps your computer and forces you into a ransom. In this attack, hackers infect your device with malware that encrypts, basically locks everything on your computer, and you can no longer access any of your files. And in order to get your files back, you have to pay hackers a Bitcoin ransom. Matt, do you want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and some of the goods and the bads of it?
Yeah, I mean the goods and the bads of Bitcoin. Ken knows I'm pretty negative on Bitcoin, so I'm always an interesting guy to to ask a question like this of. I guess the goods are it is an alternative currency, and it's not necessarily pegged to any one country. So the idea that money is a an intangible, right? Because when was the last time you saw a dollar's worth of gold, right, or whatever? Bitcoin has just kind of taken that and borrowed that concept, if you will. And so it floats out there. People have assigned a value to it. People invest in it, right? And it floats, kind of like the dollar floats, or the British pound floats, or the Chinese yen floats, or the Japanese yen, excuse me. So Bitcoin, can be a great alternative to I shouldn't say income to dollars, if you will. The challenge with Bitcoin is because it's so unregulated. And those of you who know me, I was in the military and I saw some of the crazy things that can happen when shady actors are able to do whatever they want. And a lot of the organizations that use Bitcoin are doing stuff like what Ken's talking about today. Um, that's like he just said, if you've got ransomware or something like that, a lot of times they'll demand payment in Bitcoin. Why? Because the payment can't be traced. It's that simple. And so when people ask me as a financial planner, like, should I invest in Bitcoin? I always say, well, you got to think about a little bit about your values as well when you're getting ready to maybe do something like that. And the reason why is, you know, and I'm not going to point fingers at anyone, but there's a lot of groups out there that do things like human trafficking, arms smuggling, drug running, terrorism. This is how they're funded, is through activities like this. So Bitcoin just provides them a way to essentially launder money, and there's no tracking mechanism for it at this point. So Bitcoin is one of those things that I do see a potential long-term place for it. There needs to be some kind of regulation to it. Ken,
Yeah.
that was probably a little too much, but
No, no, it's
that's where I'm at.
perfect. Again, just at the end of the day, with digital currency comes digital risk. When you
Yeah.
have a physical bank and you had tangible dollars, you had to break into a bank. But here it's all digital, and one of the easiest ways they can get to you is through phishing. And you probably have experienced this. I know I have. Some phishing messages are getting very, very good. Very, very good. I had one come in with somebody in my inner circle of people with their first name, last name, even their business title, but their email address was just a little off. And I called that person to be like, did you send that to me? And I sent them a screenshot, because you never send an actual email for that email, because now you're just spreading badness. Take screenshots and not the physical thing when you have questions. But let's go through a 10-second cybersecurity rule that will help you fend off phishers. And we use the acronym email, and it's examine message and inspect links. So part one is examine the message. So who is it from? Read the subject line, understand the greeting, grammar, signature test, and make sure that there are no attachments that you aren't expecting. So some of these are subtle, but still require you to take action. So for example, mail delivery failed, return message to sender, or incoming fax received. Subject lines like this should alert us that there may be a phishing attack. Next, we need to discover the true sender of the email. Phishers can spoof the from line to appear from a legitimate business like Amazon or Netflix or anything else. And you can determine the true sender by hovering your mouse over the display name, and a small box will appear with the true email address. Don't click, hover. Other suspicious things to look for, including greetings that refer to you as a customer or sir or madam instead of your name. Poor grammar is a tail giveaway, that it's something that is a little off center. With that being said, with the rise of Chat GPT and OpenAI and things like that, you're going to want to be less. One, bad grammar should really tick things off, but just because it has good grammar doesn't mean it's safe as well. Never open an attachment unless you're expecting it overall. Part two, inspect the link. Um, like you did with the sender, hover your mouse over any link or hyperlink text. Be sure that the link is truly directing you to the correct website. If it looks fishy, delete it. You can always contact the organization directly to ask if they sent you the email. This is an action that needs to become part of your daily cybersecurity practices. Make it a habit so you can thwart off phishers without thinking about it. Last part is take action. So we talked about some of the things that you can be doing, everything from freezing your credit to making sure checking the Wi-Fi, never opening an email you aren't expecting, but take those steps. A little bit of protection today and a little bit of mindfulness goes a huge way in protecting your future. But Matt, anything else you'd like to add?
No, just if anything, everyone, if it seems fishy, no pun intended, if it seems fishy, it probably is. And like Ken said, call the person, text them, but don't touch that email. Don't touch it at all.
Yeah, only open emails you're expecting. Let's see, freeze your credit, check your kids' credit scores. Um, what's one thing that you're going to take from this, Matt?
The kids' credit scores. I'm probably going to do that this week.
I think I did that for my son when I was on paternity leave, but now it's been 2 years since then, so I got to double check.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe get a Home Depot card. We'll see what happens.
There you go. Go buy a car. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
All right, everybody. Till next time. If you enjoyed this, let us know. If there's any other topics you'd like us to cover, let us know. But as we are financial planners, we protect, one, help you grow your assets, help you keep your assets. Cybersecurity is one of the ways that can, unfortunately, you might lose some of your assets if we don't take the time and energy to protect it. We take it very seriously with all of our clients. Our financial planning software has some of the highest encryption out there. So yeah, I know all of our clients already know that, but if you'd like to learn more or want a refresher, let's chat. Outside of that, y'all have a good day and talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.